Good morning, it's Keen again. So it's been a minute since I've uploaded. I think the last video I uploaded was about the patch itself. So today we're going to upload a gameplay-based video, although I'm going to make it a little bit different since it's been a bit since I've uploaded. I wanted to maybe try and sort of like, not super duper 100% serious commentate over my own games, but kind of just talk about how I feel about Brella after having played it a lot more lately. The way I play Brella is kind of a lot of bullet space kind of paint oriented style. I think that'll become really obvious, you know, looking at my replays. I think between the two kits for regular Brella, Sorella is definitely the more aggressive one, while the vanilla is more of a support paint, you know, not super fiending kind of weapon by comparison. So overall, I think the buffs are really good. It actually makes Brella worth picking. I think that normal Brella itself is pretty strong in zones. I think Sorella is probably more of a TC / Rainmaker weapon. Mainly Rainmaker would be the one I would think is probably its best mode. Clam, I think, maybe more of a Vbrella, but personally, for me, I would prefer something like Tent, or even like the buffed Recycled, honestly, is pretty good in Clam with Bubble, and all that. But basically, shorthand, I think Brella is legitimately pretty good now. So to kind of just talk about it a bit, like you see how like I'm sort of shield firing to approach a shooter, that's being a good matchup for Brella. So, and you know, this isn't going to be some crazy exhaustive guide, it's more just me speaking my mind and, you know, giving you info based on my experience playing it for years. Not necessarily in this game, but also Splatoon 2, but I just want to kind of give you like a rundown of Brella in general. So Brella, really good matchup into majority of shooters, especially the shorter range shooters. You have great matchups into them, so in this game it'd be like 52 and Forge, those are really good for you. Bucket and Roller require specific kind of playing where you need to be aware of them and sort of space them out and only really take the fight when it's on your terms. So those are a bit harder. Some of your hardest matchups are going to be Splatana's probably number one. That one's horrific. Charger can kind of miss the flow of your gameplay a lot because it has a massive damage multiplier on shield. It's not present in this game. I don't know if it's present in any of these replays, but it's just, again, kind of just rambling, basically, without trying to be like an explicit exposition dump. But yeah, so Brella, in terms of matchups against relevant weapons, again, you're going to struggle with Stamper. Wiper's pretty horrific. Decav is hard, but Decav also is a bit of a clunkier weapon, so it's not good, obviously, but I personally find it easier to fight that than something such as Wiper, where it's so hypermobile and breaks your shield quickly and has Torpedo to annoy you and Hammer to, you know, break your shield instantly through a variety of ways. That's a really hard one. Dread is kind of weird. Buckets are weird. They can hit over your shield, so it's not going to be like a perfectly clean thing, but their kill time is kind of slow, sort of like Brella, so kind of awkward. Usually when I fight Bucket, I like to, except Try, obviously not Try, but usually with Bucket, I like to try and get the initial hit off in pretty close range to get a 2 or 3 shot, and usually that ends up being how those exchanges go, except for Try. Try, you don't really mess with in close range. You're just going to trade to that best, even with the best aim, like 2-shotting it, that you're probably going to trade it. So with Try, I kind of view that in the camp of don't really mess with it unless you have to, kind of thing. In terms of the kits, again, I think Vbrella is really strong in zones. It just has kind of crazy high paint output. I think the third replay I have today, I believe, had like 3300 paint, and granted, like a lot of the gameplay in that one isn't necessarily like, oh, it's optimal. It's more just like me enjoying the paint buff and wanting to see like how ridiculous my output can be sort of gameplay. I think this first game is a bit more akin to the, you know, holding space, kind of go behind like an instance like this, kind of draw aggro away, because Brella can kind of defend itself against many weapons for a bit, and just stall in general while outputting a lot of paint, because you will get a lot of strikes with this weapon. And while strike isn't the most, you know, exciting special to play, it is pretty strong. It's probably the best special in the game at specifically punishing jump-ins, because of how quickly it kills and the distance you get to throw it. Like a lot of the time, I noticed when I'm playing triple length strike, if you get like an advantage scenario and say the last one alive is like a pencil or leader or something, a lot of the time like burning strike to kind of just throw in their direction. You'd be amazed how many times you just get picks on people trying to jump back into them, especially when like cooler's in play. Like people will just like try and jump back in immediately. So the value of that is really good. Strike's really good for breaking bubble, for shredding through Bria, breaking that. both, you know, Forge and Roller had that. There were probably examples of that in this game. There you get a Brella example of someone pops a slider, and, you know, it's not a free punish per se, but like they're committing super hard to something that's in your favor. So, you know, I'm chilling. Basically, this game kind of just rotating, painting around, but it's kind of fun. So let me go to the next replay. I don't have this perfectly synced up, and I'm rewatching the replays without audio on my end for the sake of recording. So let me just... So second game, Clam, blitz, church. I don't remember exactly what happened here, because I kind of just hit record and put the replay to play and walked out of the room, because I was just like, I remember this being a good game. I don't remember why it was good. So we'll see how that goes. This is Clam, blitz, not zones, so mode differential here. What else to talk about? In terms of gear, I'm trying to figure out what I like. I've talked about this with friends, but I played the super nerf Brella in Splatoon 2 when it was like, not at its lowest, because that wouldn't be accurate, but like kind of like late game, got nerfed really hard, sort of thing. Also, don't open shield on bubble like that, because it will break instantly, and that was an accident. What was I saying? Oh yeah, in terms of gear with this weapon, I think mobility is really good. I think run speed and swim speed are good. I think at least a bit of main saver is nice. I think my current build only has one sub of main save, which would be surprising to you, because you're probably thinking like, oh, you shoot so much, so it's... They did rebuff Brella's sync efficiency a bit, and a lot of it's honestly just getting ink fills from just outputting so much special. And to be fair, like I feel like a lot of this is kind of just me painting, not necessarily fighting. I think with one like Sorella, where you're fighting a bit more actively and have autobomb to, you know, engage with, I think you could afford to run a bit more. I noticed some of the Japanese Brellas, I looked around at like their builds. There was one I think had like 3200 XP that went for like a main saver. To me, that seems like right if it's not a mode where you're using LD like in zones. Then I could see you investing a bit more into that. So in this game specifically, in terms of Brella matchups, again, short-range shooters are pretty good for you. Dually as well. Dually's like a weird one because it's definitely in Brella's favor, but it's just weird to me because Dually's like roll speed did get buffed in Splatoon 3, so like I'm old, so my head gets messed with in terms of the timing for that, but it's definitely good for you. Roller again kind of awkward, but Brella kind of does really well into their comp because it's like shorter range weapons that can't really break it, and then just, you know, be careful about Flingza. And it's not too bad. Oh, also in terms of, I was talking about, you know, what Strike is good at before, Strike is also really good at like kind of like checking crab, especially if it's like committed. Like say they like pop crab on top of snipe, that's like a really small area, so Strike can really dissuade or punish or outright kill that, so that's pretty strong. In terms of what else? I guess on the enjoyment factor of playing Brella, it is fun, but I do think it comes with the struggle of, there's your example of Crab being kind of slow and getting melted by that. I don't think they knew that was there, but Crab's mobility is kind of so limited in terms of like the roll speed that, you know, that will happen a lot. You will get many kills like that. Out of ink on that, so I'm kind of just chilling. People jump out because they actually respect the fact I'm Umbrella. It's crazy. Never mind. Funny. Sorry, this is like completely unscripted, so my thoughts are completely all over the place. I hope that's like fine. I kind of just wanted to have this be a video where it's like me talking and then just like background footage about what I'm talking about. Nice movement. I'm so good at this game. So what was I saying with Brella? Talking about like specials, right? What was it? I already forgot. I forgot. You know, I'm not gonna like try and make this like some perfect thing. It's been a minute since I've uploaded, so bear with me if yeah, I'm not even used to this because most of the time I just kind of do that like minute-long intro, right? And then they just, you know, throw the replays up and it's like, oh, gameplay. You want gameplay on the channel. But I never really like talk over these the entire time, and I also haven't like recorded in a while or like uploaded in a while. And you know, oh, I know what I was gonna talk about. So I was going to say, in terms of enjoyment of this weapon, I think the weapon itself is quite fun now. I think my main complaint with it is more of a matchmaking thing, if anything, because that recent-ish update that they did in Splatoon 3, where like series matchmaking is based upon like a weapon XP, that on top of X being like a regional based matchmaking thing, where you have to commit to like Western X rank or like Japanese X rank. The thing with that is, for this season, I went back to Japan, And the issue with that is obviously latency. This is a weapon that does not like latency, especially in the more difficult matchups. If you were fighting like a laggy Stamper from your perspective, or like Wiper, any of those bad matchups like S-Blast, you could like attempt to outplay it perfectly and it'll just like result in you dying anyway. You know, even like trading on exchanges that definitely look in your favor. So that's kind of the main frustration with it. I mean, but that's always been a problem with Brella in, you know, not just this game, but in Splatoon 2. Again, another example of Strike on the crap is insane. You should do that if you play this or any strike weapon. Very, very strong. Yeah, matchmaking is kind of a struggle because a lot of the time I'm finding myself in pretty late in lobbies. And also the update that made X-Rank anonymous kind of makes it more obnoxious because every name will just be displayed in the whatever language you're playing. So, you know, my copy's in English, so all the names will be English, and I'll just say some English name, like, oh, that person's wearing the Judd cat ear, so their name is Judd, and it's like, it could just be some person, like, all the way across the world that is super latent for me. So, you know, that's kind of annoying, I guess. It hampers the enjoyment a bit, but ultimately, I think this is the most fun Brella's ever been, like, as a weapon in this game, so that's really good. Okay, yeah, so this game is like day like 2 or something. You notice my IGN is different between these, I believe, because I think this last replay is actually the earliest one, because my name this month is just a Toho character I like. It's about like changing it. Also, it's strange because I had a post on Bluesky about it. There was a person running around with my name in game, which I think is funny because usually I view that as like a thing for more popular people, and like I won't say I have like no influence. Like I think I like undersell myself, I guess, in a way, or I don't view myself being like, oh, like, you know, I have people that would run around with my IG. I'm like, nah, like, you know, I'm just like, no one would do that. And like I just like I think it's funny that someone was doing that, and like I got DM'd by someone. They're talking about a game that I wasn't even in. They like DM me a bunch of messages talking about a match they had. And I'm just like, dude, I'm at work. What are you talking about? That's funny. Oh yeah, Strike can also... Strike has like kind of low airspeed, so sometimes stuff like that will happen as well. I noticed with Strike, since I haven't used it a ton, barring like pocketing like Neo Splash and like TC, sometimes in like pickups or like tourneys, whenever I do play, a lot of the time if either Strike's like under objects or like really high up that they land back down, I feel like that's when you tend to get the most like picks with it, because like people like don't expect it, I guess. I wish I had the replay. I don't think I started, but I had it somewhere. It was like a game on the Maria, and it kept getting like doubles with Strike because I would like throw it like one like under the bridge and one on top of the bridge, and they would like avoid one and get hit by the other. It was really funny. Also, in terms of this game, Vbrella fights tend to get really drawn out and last a while. I think Sorella is definitely favored if you are playing like vanilla Brella that's fighting you, because like A, it has a bomb, B, Jetpack is really good into Brella because Brella gets absolutely shredded by Jetpack. Brella's short range, so I can't really kill Jetpack effectively. Yeah, that's kind of tough. Yeah, kind of just respecting it. 52 is a weird one because on paper it's in your favor, but they also buff the bullet velocity of that thing for whatever reason, so like honestly latent 52 can kind of just like kill you before you get to function, so that's kind of annoying. Bresh is also a kind of weird one where I feel like if both of you want to play the way where neither of you wants to die, then it's kind of hard for either of you to die. I feel like this game is like very little actual fighting because the kill times are so long between like Brella and like these weapons when they fight that it's sort of just like, alright, well, like whatever, I'm just gonna paint to enable my blasters because Blaster does okay into Brella because our comp has like -2 paint between Rapid and the Blaster, and Bucket's not like the greatest at painting either. So that's kind of like my POV of this game, I guess. I always say with solo queue, you kind of need to like read the room in a sense. Like some weapons are more straightforward on like what the game plan is, right? But sometimes with a weapon that's like more flexible, like Splash or something, you might have to play like more or less aggressively depending on your comp and like how your like teammates and stuff are playing. And I'd say Brella is like probably sort of kind of flexible like that. Though again, I think you can definitely play more aggro with the Sorella kit, specifically Vbrella. I think's aggression is a lot less potent, but a lot of Vbrella's strength with its kit is more just, you know, turf output, special output, map control sort of gameplay. But it's kind of the style I like a bit more, because even when Sorella was really strong in Splatoon 2 and had like Bomb Rush, like you can play aggressively with Bomb Rush, and I did to some extent, but it was kind of more like the I hold space, I'm annoying, I don't die easily sort of gameplay. I definitely prefer this kit of the two. I'm also not very good with Jetpack because I've barely played it in this game, so if anything, I'll definitely upload, you know, like Sorella gameplay in the future too, but I feel like I'm gonna like struggle a little more to get like really good games with that as opposed to Vbrella, because I think this one's a little more straightforward for the way I play. That's a funny fall-off kill. Thank you, Rapid / Bucket. They do a bajillion damage. But yeah, what else? Recycled buff is cool, I'll definitely upload more with that, but I think I've just been so shell-shocked by Brella being buffed that I've kind of been playing that the most, I think. You know, it's funny because I swear every time I want to, like, grind a weapon in this game or something, like, I remember a few months ago, I'm like, yeah, I should, like, grind Stamper, like, again, like, seriously, and then they, like, buffed, I forget which one it was, but they buffed something that I liked. Also, I should have thrown the strike at that jump, I messed that up. You see, I, like, threw it a little too far back. The strike is also, like, again, like XXX tier killing jump-ins. Like, there is, like, basically no counterplay if you time it correctly on where that is, because it kills so fast and has such a big radius. What was I saying? I'll definitely upload, you know, more, like, recycled videos. I'll upload, Sorella gameplay as well. I don't think I've done a video on the Super Chunk tent either. I want to do that. The tent is also, like, not super solo queue friendly, so that one's a bit tough, but we'll see. I've been having a lot of fun with this, so it's been good. You know, this over time is kind of funny. You'll see in a second why. Because I think I mess up and end up dying here. Yeah, because I have the fact of stall, which is like correct. You want to like pressure the tent on this map. I'll not let that happen. I move forward. Throw my sprinkler. Yeah, I end up running into the auto bomb, but my slosher also strikes, so it's like 6 strikes on zone. What will you do? And that's kind of just game. That's pretty funny. Anyway, yeah, that was my ramble. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I've been talking this long and somehow forgot to do that. That's how you know I haven't uploaded in a while. We're actually, it is pretty cool that I noticed the sub count going up despite me not uploading a ton, so I can tell there's like interest in that, so like keep showing me that, and that'll like encourage me to do more videos and stuff, which I'll do regardless. But you know, if there's like exponential growth or whatever on the channel, then obviously I'm a bit more inclined than if it's like stagnant, because it kind of sucks when you like actually put an effort to upload something and then it kind of like, not like flops, but you kind of remain at the same like place you were. That's my ramble. Hope you have fun. It's been Keen. Enjoy. You can tell I was gonna say enjoy the video. The video's over. Go home after you sub and like. Don't forget.